rolling. Power, power, never, ever, after work is over. Harder, better, faster, stronger. Working harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over. Working harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over.
Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to play Spark. Spark is a caster that relies heavily on item usage, skill shot accuracy, combos, and positioning. Spark's passive is called Electric Shock and causes your abilities to apply a stackable debuff to enemies on hit, which is represented by a blue orb rotating around your enemy. The debuff lasts for 6 seconds and will be refreshed when another stack is added. Once a target reaches 3 stacks, they're consumed, stunning the target for 1 second and disabling Spark's passive for the next. His first ability is Chain Lightning, and while it's a simple spell at first, it's actually quite a complex spell that can be utilized in many ways. Chain Lightning is a medium-range line skill shot ability that deals a base amount of magic damage plus 90% of your current magical power. When Chain Lightning hits a target, it will ricochet to 2 other nearby targets, dealing 25% less damage each time. Targets include players, monsters, trees, mana stones, and the Conductor Crystal. You may use this ricochet effect to reach players that are slightly out of range. More examples on this later. The Conductor Crystal is Spark's second ability, which creates a crystal in the targeted area that lasts for 4 seconds. Spawning the crystal deals a base amount of magic damage plus 70% of your magical power and slows enemies hit for 1.5 seconds. The Conductor Crystal is consumed when hit with Chain Lightning, triggering the ricochet effect. Spark can teleport with his third ability, which is useful for getting to out-of-range enemies or getting away from dangerous ones. When Spark teleports, the cooldown of his Chain Lightning ability is reset. Spark's ultimate is Collapse, which draws enemies to the center of the targeted area and reduces their movement speed by 50%. Collapse lasts for 3 seconds and damages enemies within the zone a maximum of 6 times for a base amount of damage plus 40% of Spark's magical power. Now that we've gone over Spark's abilities, let's talk about how we can use them effectively. You should always try to use Chain Lightning before activating Teleport, otherwise the cooldown reset is going to be wasted. You should try to put down your Corruption Crystal before casting Chain Lightning on an enemy to get some bonus damage. However, make sure to place it behind your enemy. Placing the crystal in front of your enemy will actually reduce your damage by 25% and may make you miss, depending on how far away they are. When you successfully place the crystal behind the enemy, you can get the damage from your Chain Lightning, ricochet damage from the crystal, and the initial damage from the crystal. This will also immediately trigger your passive, stunning the target. Spark's ultimate is exceptionally strong in confined spaces or in close quarters teamfights. However, make sure to wait until your enemies have used their mobility spells, otherwise they can hop right out. Without mobility spells, the only option other players will have to escape is a Purification Scroll. A well-timed ultimate can turn a fight into a one-sided slaughter. Alright, so it's time to talk about equipment. This is a purely subjective topic, and equipment is quite randomized, so it's hard to get a specific build every game. With that being said, my recommendation for equipment is to rock as much spell penetration as possible, grabbing the Voodoo Doll accessory when you can. For runes, I like to run 5 mana runes for the additional damage, while taking Disaster, Fortitude, and Mystic for my cards. Spark is quite a strong champion, but he heavily relies on items as he's quite squishy. There are a few items that are exceptionally good on Spark, but I recommend running a large amount of Purification and Speed Scrolls with a decent amount of Teleport Powder handy. This combination of items makes you even more slippery, giving you 2 teleports, a speed bonus, and a way to get out of movement reduction, snares, and stun effects. Lastly, let's talk about some cool things you can do with Spark's Chain Lightning spell. I mentioned earlier that trees and mana stones were applicable targets for this spell. You can use these objects to extend the reach of your Chain Lightning when needed, such as when your enemy is slightly out of range. Simply shoot your Chain Lightning at the tree or mana stone that the enemy is nearby, and it will ricochet to them. To add to this effect even more, you can utilize your Corruption Crystal, allowing you to hit targets that are even further away. Hopefully this guide helped you learn a few things about Spark. To view more guides, check out our website at royalcrown.pro.